Lesson 20, Kings of Curiosity. Before you did this unit, what did you think a career in paleontology was like? Did you imagine sitting in a museum all day long, chipping or brushing away at little pieces of rock and bone? How has your perception of this field changed or broadened? We have learned that paleontology is so much more than writing papers and using big Latin names. For some, it's a life of adventure, exploring in the field and facing unknown dangers with the thrill of discovery just beyond the horizon. For others, it is a matter of deep conviction and commitment that has a cost at a great deal. Throughout the past few weeks, we have been learning about the founders of paleontology and those who follow in their footsteps even today. In our final lesson, we will investigate a few discoveries that have been made not by scientifically trained professionals, but by the kings of curiosity, kids. It's all about perspective. Lily Weiler was at the beach with her family at Bendrix Bay in Wales when she saw an impressive impression in a rock that was just about at her eye level. Only 4 years old at the time, she excitedly told her parents, who took some pictures of the print and reported the find. Do you remember how footprints have their own names? The name of this footprint is Groliator, a three-toed impression that was made by a bipedal dinosaur like the T-Rex or Velociraptor. Scientists couldn't tell the exact species of dinosaur that made the print, but they could estimate its size. From the measurements of the track that Lily Wilder found, they believed that the dinosaur was about 30 inches tall and 8 feet long. It took some time for National Museum of Cardiff to get the proper approvals, but they were able to remove the print for further research. They planned to put it on display with Lily's name to memorialize her discovery, one that might never have been made if not for her child-sized perspective. An inspiring paleontologist, young Nathan Herskin goes with his father every year to the Drumheller area in Alberta, Canada's Badlands to hunt for dinosaur fossils. In June of 2020, he made a remarkable discovery, the bones of a young hadrosaur. The bones stuck out of the ground only slightly, but were unmistakable. While hadrosaurs themselves are not uncommon, the age and time period of this dinosaur had caused a lot of interest in the region, and an entire team of people worked together to excavate the area where the bones were found. Between 30 and 50 bones were found. Scientists have a partial skeleton including legs, hips, shoulders, and part of a skull. The bones are currently at home in the Royal Tyrrell Museum, where they will be studied further. Nathan has always wanted to be a paleontologist, and his recent find has whet his appetite for more. He has continued to hunt for fossils with his father in an attempt to outdo himself. Only time will tell if he is successful. Did you know that there are places in the world where you're allowed to hunt for fossils, but what you do with your fossils is usually strictly controlled? In Alberta, it is illegal to take, sell, or excavate fossils. Instead, you are requested to leave them, take pictures, and report them to a museum so they can be extracted safely without damage. Even fossils that are found cannot be owned without special permission. What just happened? Imagine if you were on a hike and saw a weird rock on the ground. When you picked it up and looked at closer, it looked like it had been shattered in a strange way and left a serrated edge. What could it be? With your heart pounding just a little bit faster, you take it to your local museum, eager with anticipation, but also not wanting to get your hopes crushed. This actually happened to an 8th grader, Jonathan Charpentier, who was told that the strange rock was actually a partial T-Rex tooth, smack dab in the middle of T-Rex territory. Boulder County, Colorado is right in the region where these giants have been commonly found, in the U.S. Midwest and Alberta, Canada. There have been a lot of T-Rex teeth discovered over the years, but each find is still exciting because it's another clue. The museum curator hopes to be able to plan a dig in the area to see if they can find any other evidence of the dinosaur this tooth might have belonged to. Jonathan could hardly believe that he had actually found a real fossil, especially one as cool as the tooth of one of the most famous dinosaurs of all times. A dino in my backyard. Do you want to make a dinosaur discovery? Did you know that it's totally possible that you could find one near you? Not buried in the ground like scattered pieces of a puzzle, but walking around on their fearsome talons. Believe it or not, evolutionists consider chickens to be the closest living relatives of dinosaurs. While comparative anatomy shows some small similarities such as the talons, scaly legs, feathers, or bright red combs, there are other differences that are working to understand as they learn more about the DNA makeup of dinosaurs. Those who follow Cuvier's line of thinking believe that dinosaurs existed but went extinct like the woolly mammoth or the saber-toothed tiger. Despite what you believe, comparative anatomy can be a fun way to see the similarities and unique differences that God instilled in His creation. From the scales on a crocodile to the teeth of a shark, we can learn more about extinct species by studying the creatures of the animal kingdom all around us today. This is one of the reasons that zoology, biology, microbiology, paleontology, art, history, science, chemistry, comparative anatomy, philosophy, botany, ichnology, and so many more things all work together. The more we understand about plants, the more clues we have about the animals that ate them. As we understand footprints, we can learn about the behaviors and patterns of the dinosaurs we study. Art helps us to sketch and document our findings. Language arts helps us to be good communicators who can share, write, and publish our discoveries. Zoology and comparative anatomy can help us learn more about one species by referencing it with another. Geologists study the rocks and layers in the earth to help ascertain how old something might be. Mathematics can help us figure out complex equations to determine how large something might have been or how much it could have weighed. On and on it goes on each subject connects to the ones before it. Like a dinner plate where each piece of food touches, impacting the flavor of what is next to it, knowledge and interconnects and works together to deepen our understanding. Your experience or expertise are irrelevant. Anyone can add to the plate of knowledge and understanding if they observe, study, and continue asking questions, from kids to entrepreneurs to the highly educated. The eye of the beholder. Have you ever tried on different sunglasses and looked around? There are generally two main lens colors in most sunglasses, brown and gray. While gray sunglasses are popular for that mirrored layer that makes you look and feel super cool, there's something about brown lenses that make the world happy. The fall colors look brighter, grass looks greener, the canola fields are as bright as the sun, and all around you is a warm hue that can make you feel a little bit lighter. The way that we look at things can affect how we feel, think, and react. Perhaps our worldview is impacted by how other people view us. We put on some super cool shades to fit in with the crowd. Maybe we see things through a lens of pessimism, where everything looks dismal and disappointing. Or maybe we choose to see things with optimistic hope and expectation, looking for the best. The more you question the things around you, the more you ponder and compare them with God's Word. And the more you seek, the easier it will be to walk with conviction. While each of the scientists we have learned about had different ideas, opinions, and convictions, they each stood or continued to stand for what they believed in wholeheartedly because they took the time to ask difficult questions. Do you remember in the first lesson where we came up with some big questions of our own? Pause the lesson and take a few minutes to go back to that in your notebook page and reflect on them. Do you have new questions to add? Did you find only any answers? Has your opinion changed about anything? Talk about it together, even if you don't write it down. Use it as a discussion stopping point. Without the Bible as our ultimate authority, things can get really confusing. If we aren't convinced that the Bible is true, then we are left to a sea of opinions where right and wrong are interpretational and unclear. God gives us many keys in the Bible, as well as a compass for how we should live our lives. But there are still many mysteries. For us to be in awe of God, He has to be bigger than our understanding. For us to need faith, we have to have unanswered questions. We will never know everything on this side of heaven, and so we get to continue asking questions and seeking the answers both in His Word and in the world He has created, all the while being full of wonder and awe at the vastness of our great God. And isn't it a good thing that there are still unsolved mysteries? It means that someone like you might be the one to find the answers. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power together with all of the Lord's holy people to grasp how high and how long and how high and deep is the love of Christ, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God. Ephesians 3:17. This concludes our whole dinosaur activity of Lesson 20. It's been a pleasure reading for you.